What if I told you that you're probably paying for thousands of email subscribers who will never buy from you, and that cleaning them out could save you thousands of dollars a month? Well, Klaviyo charges you based on the number of active profiles that you have, and so the more profiles that you have, the higher your bill is going to be. But here's the thing, most of those profiles aren't doing anything for you. Very, very unproductive. They're not opening your emails, they're not clicking, they're definitely not buying. You're just paying to store them on your account. And so we use this exact strategy with one of our clients, and we save them $3,200 per month in Klaviyo fees. Not by switching platforms, not by sending less, just by cleaning the list the right way. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 segments you need to build right now to start cutting your Klaviyo bill, plus 3 bonus segments to clean it even deeper. So this is money back in your pocket pretty much immediately. All right, let's get into it. So the main thing that we need to stop doing every single month on Klaviyo is to pay for dead subscribers and just dead weight, right? So in this video, I'm gonna be going over how to massively lower your Klaviyo bill, and you can, rinse and repeat this process once a month. So that way you can make sure that you're always on the right Klaviyo plan month after month after month, and that you're never overpaying for what you need to. So first of all, I think it's important to understand what the problem is. So the problem is that Klaviyo charges based on the number of active profiles that you actually have on your account, whether or not you actually email them or not, right? So the more active profiles you have, the more that you're gonna be paid, period. Now, the reality is that more profiles equals a higher bill. So I don't care if you have, a 200,000 size email list, if you're only 30,000 or 40,000 of those people are actually engaged in receiving your emails, you're still paying for the 200,000 profiles, which is going to be probably much higher than what you'd actually generate from those emails. And so the waste is that more stores are paying for thousands of people who will just never buy ever. And so the goal is to create segments around people that we are confident enough to believe that they're never going to be engaging with the brand or buying anything from your brand based off of their, behavior and kind of the history of what they've done. So as a real example of this, actually, just last week, we saved one of our clients $3,200 per month after going through this list cleaning process. This is a new client that actually came on board, and they just didn't really know what they were doing in terms of list cleaning. They haven't cleaned their list in many, many years. And so straight off the bat, we saved them $3,200 a month. And so that's a huge, massive savings, close to $36,000 to $40,000 a year. That's just straight back into their pocket. So again, the reason why list cleaning matters so much, number one, the obvious benefit, lowers your bill immediately. So you're stopping paying for profiles that will never convert into customers. Number 2, it actually improves deliverability as well. So fewer sends to dead emails equals better sender reputation. Because if you think about it, affinity to the brand, they're just not interested in the brand or the emails any longer. Well, then as a byproduct of that, we're then emailing only the people that are actually engaged. And that's going to send a positive feedback loop to these major email service providers, Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, et cetera, basically telling them like, hey, our brand is a legitimate sender because we're sending emails and people are actually opening and clicking them. So it's a very, very positive signal here that we're only sending to very engaged profiles as opposed to these dead emails. And as a result of that, obviously, like I said, we have higher open rates and click rates. Your metrics look better when you're only sending to engaged subscribers, obviously, and then more accurate data for decision making. So clean data leads to better insights and smarter marketing decisions. And so all these different benefits overall kind of encapsulate the benefit of cleaning your list once a month. And now at this point, I'm going to go into Klaviyo. I'm actually going to show you the 3 segments. So there's 3 segments that I recommend that every brand suppresses from their Klaviyo account once a month. And there's actually 3 bonus segments. And these bonus segments are a little bit more aggressive. I wouldn't recommend every brand does this, but if you have a ton of people on your list, like over, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 plus, it might be worth it to consider also suppressing these 3 bonus segments that I'm going to be going over. But first things first, I'm going to be going over the 3 main segments that I want you to suppress every single month, no matter what. And so what these segments are is going to be the sunset suppression. So this first segment is going to be the sunset suppression. I'm going to go through the definition of all of these as well. So if you go into edit definition, what the property is that unengaged to is true. So if I actually navigate over into the sunset flow here, you'll see that we have flow that's set up. So whenever basically someone enters an unengaged segment, so if they've received 15 emails over the last 90 to 120 days and they haven't engaged with any of them, they're going to be put into an unengaged segment, which is this segment right here. And they're going to be put into this flow called the sunset flow. And they're going to be sent this email basically saying, hey, are you still interested? What's going on? We haven't heard from you, that sort of thing. And so the idea is that we want to try to, it's kind of like a last minute kind of re-engagement attempt to see if, if they're still interested in staying on the list. And if they're not, we're going to be sending them this email. And if they still haven't opened or clicked the email, it's a pretty confident signal that they're just no longer interested, and we're very, very confident about removing them at this point. And so what we'll do is we'll create a profile property, which is very easy to do. You can just drag this over to wait 3 days, obviously give them some time to open it, but then drag this over, and you're gonna create a profile property called unengaged, and you're gonna set it as a Boolean property. So if you go navigate here, you can go create new property, unengaged. I just put unengaged 2 just for a better naming convention, but unengaged 2, make sure this is Boolean and make sure this is true. And so every time someone goes through this flow and they still haven't engaged, Klaviyo is going to automatically tag them as unengaged, basically as their profile property. And so going back into the flows here, let me navigate over, going into the listen segments actually. If I go into the starred segments here, so going back into this, the sunset suppression is basically everyone that has been tagged as unengaged to is true, and they're still eligible to receive email marketing. You'll see the total number of profiles populate right here. And so that's a segment that you should definitely be getting rid of every single month. First of all, you obviously have to set up the flow. I'll create a separate video about how to set up a sunset unengaged flow, but that's a segment that you want to be removing every single month. So that's segment number 1. Segment number 2 is inactivity, right? So inactivity, what this means is, and you can, feel free to copy this directly and build this yourself on your Klaviyo account. I'm going to walk through the definition of what this means. But basically, if someone can receive email marketing, they're still eligible to receive email marketing. They were created at least 180 days ago. So these are profiles that were created at least 6 months ago. So they're, considered to be pretty old profiles on your account. They were created at least 180 days ago. With this segment, we're not going to be looking at anyone newer than the past 6 months. So this keeps it even more accurate in terms of people that we should be removing. And they've received an email at least once in the last 72 weeks, and they've opened an email 0 times in the last 72 weeks, where Apple Privacy Open is false. So that way we're also removing bot emails as well, especially if like a lot of times with Apple Privacy Open, emails just get opened automatically. So where Apple Privacy Open is false, and clicked email 0 times in the last 72 weeks, active on site 0 times in the last 72 weeks, and viewed products 0 times in the last 72 weeks, and checkout started 0 times in the last 72 weeks. And they've also placed an order 0 times in the last 72 weeks. So basically, they've essentially shown no activity in the last 72 weeks, and they are at least 6 months old. We're creating a segment around this, and then all the profiles that get populated here, just go ahead and suppress them. This is actually a segment that Klaviyo recommended about a year ago. In order to really clean your list, they recommended that you set up the segment exactly in this way. And so that's kind of where I got the inspiration to create this from. And the next one is never active profile. So this is one that I came up with myself. Basically, the idea is that people have received an email at least 20 over all time. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive with this, you can do, they've received at least 10 emails over all time, but I like to just say 20, just to be extra sure. So they've received at least 20 emails over all time, and they've opened the email 0 times over all time, clicked an email 0 times over all time, and they've also placed an order 0 times over all time as well, and they're obviously still eligible to receive email marketing. So basically this is saying, they've received many, many emails from your brand, like more emails than you probably should send with your brand, but they still have not opened, clicked, engaged, bought your product, anything like that. So it's very, very unlikely that they're magically just going to start, after the 20 emails are sent, that every email after that, they're magically just going to start opening and engaging with your emails and buying right away. So this is a segment that should be definitely removed right away. So going back into listen segments, right? These are the 3 segments that I highly, highly recommend. Every single month, these are just going to be populated on autopilot. You don't need to worry about creating the segments over and over again. All you need to do is once a month, you go into your listen segments. I like to star it so I can have easier access to it. Go into the listen segments, and you simply just hit the 3 dots right here, and you hit suppress current members. Obviously, make sure that it's suppressing the current members. It's the right segment that it's suppressing. You obviously don't want to suppress people that are engaged. What you'll do is you'll just hit bulk suppress. It might take probably about 10 to 20 minutes for this to set back to 0. But basically what this is going to do is it's going to suppress all the members in here, and that is going to lower the number of active profiles that are inside your Klaviyo account. If you check back on this 30 minutes from now, this should be back to 0. And this is something that you want to do every single month, because over the course of a month, new profiles are being added to the segments, because the segments are dynamic. So new people are being added, new people are being taken out, et cetera, et cetera. But every month, safe to say that you can just remove those. Now, there's 3 bonus segments that I also want to go over as well. And so, this is if you really, really want to be aggressive. I would say, if you have 75,000 plus profiles on your account and you haven't cleaned it in a long time and you want to take a huge hack into like really just cleaning your list, these are 3 bonus segments that I would definitely create and suppress right away as well. Especially, if you have 75,000 plus people on your Klaviyo account, your Klaviyo bill is likely going to be very, very high. And so it's probably worth it just to take that additional aggressive measure and also create these 3 segments as well. So I'm going to go over each of these 3. The first one's going to be the zombie segment. So the zombie segment is going to be people that have a profile that was created at least 120 days ago. We don't want to look at anyone newer than that just because we want to give a little bit of grace for those people. And they've opened an email at least once in the last 90 days. So there's some level of engagement because they've opened an email at least once, but they have clicked an email 0 times over all time. They have not been active on site over all time. They've placed an order 0 times over all time, and they're still eligible to receive email marketing. You guys will probably see a lot of people being populated in this segment. I highly would recommend removing this segment as well, or just suppressing this segment as well, because these people have been on your list for 4 months. And, if you're sending emails, 2 to 3 times a week, which you should be, they have plenty of opportunity to, obviously they've opened an email, but they have plenty of opportunity to at least click an email or place an order, right? Or even be active on your website, let alone the email side of things. So this is a segment that I would definitely recommend removing to be a little bit more aggressive. The next one is going to be old, never bought profiles. So the definition of this is that they were created at least 2 years ago. So these are, very, very old profiles. This would be useful if your brand has been around for a long time, you have huge customer base that you've developed over the years. Let's say that these profiles have been created at least 2 years ago, so 720 days, but they've placed an order 0 times over all time. So they've been, literally part of your brand's ecosystem for 2 whole years, and they've still never placed an order. I mean, that's a pretty, confident sign that, you should remove them because they haven't placed 1 order at all. You would expect them to place at least 1. It's possible, but it's not likely that they will, place an order all of a sudden after 2 years. So really with the list cleaning, we're kind of playing more on the probability side of things, like the risk versus reward, right? The risk is obviously that we remove profiles that maybe still that have a potential to convert. That's a risk. But then the reward side of things is that we're removing these profiles and we're saving a ton of money on Klaviyo. We're taking a very calculated risk here. And based off of my experience and my knowledge, we're much better off just removing these profiles, because that's going to have, us removing the profiles and improving deliverability and saving costs is going to have a much more higher benefit or a much more higher likelihood than, all of a sudden just converting and engaging with the emails. And so it's a very, very calculated risk. And we really just want to focus on the profiles that are engaged. And obviously you always, as a brand, want to be focusing on getting new traffic and focusing on the top of funnel so we can, make sure we're nurturing them and keeping them engaged. So yeah, much better to just remove these profiles and be done with it. Now, last bonus segment is no revenue plus no activity in the last 120 days. So if I go to edit definition here, so these people were created at least 4 months ago, at least 120 days ago, and they've placed an order 0 times over all time. They've been active on your website 0 times in the last 120 days. They've opened an email 0 times in the last 120 days. They've clicked an email 0 times in the last 120 days, but they're still eligible to receive email marketing. So just to summarize this, right? They've been on your email list for 4 months, right? They've placed 0 orders over all time. They haven't even been active on site. They haven't opened an email. They haven't clicked an email. All of this considering that you should be, sending at least 2 emails per week to your engaged lists. And engaged lists, these are people that are in the segment, right? Because, if you're sending emails to your engaged list, these people should definitely be on your segment, in that segment. So these people have never opened or clicked an email in the last 120 days. So these people can definitely be removed as well. So yeah, you'll notice a lot of people being, put into the zombies and the old never bought profiles. This one tends to be a little bit lower. And again, there's always going to be overlap between each and every single one of these segments as well, because it's very possible that someone that's never bought before and they're 2 years old, they're likely going to be in maybe like a zombie segment, for example, or even inactivity as well. So main point, you want to remove these profiles every single month because number 1, it's going to improve deliverability. Number 2, it's going to save you Klaviyo cost every single month. And like I said, we saved one of our clients $3,000 per month, and we're still seeing very, very productive engagement from the profiles that we're actually keeping. So yeah, hope this was helpful. Feel free to literally just watch this video over and over again and look at all of the different definitions that I've set up and just build it directly in your account. And again, I recommend performing this list cleaning at least once a month. And so that's it. You now have 6 segments that can save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars per month on your Klaviyo bill month after month. Now, just a quick recap, we built 3 core suppression segments that I think every single Klaviyo account should suppress no matter what, plus 3 bonus segments to go even deeper if you really wanted to. So if you suppress these from your sends or just, suppress them from your Klaviyo account in general and clean them out, watch your Klaviyo bill drop just like that. By the way, if you haven't grabbed the email revenue playbook yet, it's 126 pages covering the 4 pillars of e-commerce email: list growth, deliverability, flows, and campaigns. Completely free in the description. Just go ahead and click the link. And if you're watching this thinking I'd rather just have someone handle all of this for me in terms of your email marketing, that's literally what I do for a living. So if you want to, you can go ahead and click the link down below and jump on a call with me. Happy to kind of walk through what you're currently doing with your email marketing, seeing if there's any way that we can work together, and basically just breaking down exactly how you can get the most out of the email channel. Talk to you soon.